Hey everyone, welcome to Money Wire Work. Today I'm going to be looking at some different tickers. I'm going to go back through my watch list. I reorganized it a little bit just so it's easier for us to go through the videos. I've said in a previous video that I often will just adjust things on my watch list. If something falls off of interest to me, I'll get rid of it. If there's something I am interested in, then I'll add it. First, I just want to start with Bitcoin. If I just put on these trend channels, now I'm on the hourly right now, so we can just zoom out a little bit. Let's go to the 2 hour so it's a little bit easier to see. I added these trend channels just so that we can kind of go over the importance of following these trend channels and how they can actually really improve your trading. And then I also want to go back to something I talked about in the previous video with the TSI and Bitcoin. So for starters, we can take a look at these trend channels. Now, this first one of three that I highlighted is descending. It's a descending trend, but I wanted to put it on there because I wanted to show how you could even break even more to the downside on something. So if you have a descending trend channel, even though it breaks down here, it'll continue down to the downside even more once it breaks this lower line. Okay, so you have sort of like a descending step and then broke it and it fell down even more. So you can also use that for things that are going up. So if you see this trend channel going up, it's following the trend channel, but then you break right here at 25.5, you could see a high volatility to the upside. So as of right now, since about March 30th of 2022, Bitcoin has been showing these trend channels and then breaking eventually. So you have a descending trend channel, it's bouncing off of these moving averages, broke down, created a new floor, and this is ascending slightly, although for the most part it's going sideways. Broke this bottom line on the trend channel here and then went down even further. Now we have more of an ascending trend channel. Okay, so you can kind of see how momentum is changing on the 2 hour and the hourly for Bitcoin, because you have a descending, pretty much flat but slightly going up, and now more of a clear up trend channel. So what we're looking for as far as trading on this time frame, we want to see it get over 2,500. There's also a pretty big resistance at 24.2 or 24.5, however you want to look at it. Some people like to just use round numbers because market psychology or trading people's mentality, right? And 24.5 is a pretty round number. And then we're also looking at something right here where the trend channel to the downside would break at 21.5. Okay, so if we just create a support line right here, you can see that it's coming down and it's going to test whether or not there's going to be another support or whether or not it breaks that. All right, so that's one thing to pay attention to. This isn't really a wedge forming right now, but ascending and descending wedges are a pretty interesting tool that you can use too for technical analysis. So let's go ahead and bring up the daily. And if we zoom in, this is one of two things I was talking about yesterday that I never actually eventually got around to. So I just wanted to turn back around and revisit it. So yesterday I talked about how the S&P 500 back during the dot-com bubble was on an uptrend, and then it would dip and it would come up to another uptrend, and then the uptrend started to come more and more common and it just was losing steam and it went back down. And that's exactly what we were talking about with Bitcoin. You have an uptrend here, a healthy decline off of these moving averages in this EMA cloud, a really nice spike to the upside, another healthy decline where it's still over this EMA cloud, and then you started to just see more and more and more. Now you have a lower low right here. So you have a lower low and now you have a lower high, and that is why Bitcoin just plummeted after that, because it broke through this 50 moving average. It broke through this support right here. It had a lower high right here. There was nothing as far as technical analysis to support a continuation of Bitcoin. Once it got back up over all these moving averages and it bounced off of this 50 and 100-day moving average and came back up, then you had a stronger support as far as a turn to the upside. When it bounced off of these again, you had more support, more proof of concept that we were in an uptrend. When it broke down this 50-day moving average, now you're looking at a potential reversal, okay? So if you look at the weekly, and we can turn the log on, this is what I was talking about with the TSI yesterday. The TSI predicted a turn to the downside before the cloud and before we actually really saw it. And that's because it's tracking the momentum. It's losing momentum. The volume is coming down. You have less higher highs. And so you're seeing a change in momentum. And you can use, the MACD for things like that. With the histogram, you would see, if I would bring up the MACD, you would see the histogram start to come back down just like this right here. So one thing, if you're looking for your indicators, is you want to see how the indicators react, and therefore that'll give you an advantage as far as an entry and exit position. So, you can use TSI, especially on the weekly and daily, and weekly and monthly as well, as a indicator of signs to come. And you can use that as an exit, because if you were to enter here on this cloud, you're at that's May of 2020, 8,200. You get all the way up to, we hit that 6,400. And now if you're looking to break the cloud before you exit, now keep in mind this is the Heikin-Ashi candles, but more or less it's the same thing. You're at 3,600. So you already cut your gains in half from here to here. So that's one thing to keep in mind. If the TSI would have saved you if you would have got out right when it turned red, which was up at its peak. Okay, so we can go through some of the watch list here. Ethereum right now is going down at a faster rate than Bitcoin, so it looks like the Bitcoin dominance is coming back, which is actually healthy for the crypto market. The catalyst might be losing steam as we get closer to the September 19th. And that's not even a firm catalyst. We're not even sure if the 19th is when things are actually going to be, when the merger is actually going to occur. So we can look at Google. And if you want to look at it at the 1 hour, as of right now, it's showing signs of a downtrend. It looks like the wick at the least hit off of this 50 moving average, bounced back up, and now it's starting to come back down. So if you're short or you want to put a credit spread in, as far as Google, keep in mind you are above these moving averages, but if you see it break this 50 moving average, you could potentially come down to this yellow line right here. But you do have increasing support on the VRVP as you go down, okay? So we might see a bounce. If you come down and see a bounce and then come up over this 50-day moving average, it's a signal that there's a continuation to the upside and you can enter in there. Disney and Netflix more or less are in the same spot as Google. They're acting very similar right now on the 1 hour. And so right here you can see, if we zoom in, we had a bounce off of this 50. It's coming up. So we're looking, if you're looking at short, you're looking for a lower high, maybe something around here or here, and then come back down. If you break that 50-day moving average, you're also breaking through all of this support right here at 225. All right, so let's see if there's anything in consumer. So Walmart right here, it's bouncing off the yellow and green moving average, and it's starting to come back down. So you can also see, if we just bring up this TSI right now, it's starting to lose steam. If you start to see that yellow line come back down, that'll be a good short position. All right, so let's take a look at Uber as well. Uber had a high uptrend after these earnings right here. You're starting to see the red cloud on the 1 hour time frame, and you also have a red cloud on the TSI, and it's over bought right now. So this would be a good entry position for a short position, and you're looking at your target at 28.78. There isn't much on the VRVP right now. Let's see, let's move this over. Yeah, you're still not seeing much support right here, and you see the volume coming down. There was a ton of volume right here. The next highest point was here, matched a day later, now a little bit lower, and now lower. And the overall market right now is coming down too. So Uber, as of right now, at 31 flat right now in the Heikin Ashi candles, would be a good entry position for a short. On the actual price action, it's at 30.96. All right, so we're gonna track Uber. We're gonna keep an update on it on the videos, and we're gonna see how, let's just see how this hypothetical trade will do. EVs, if you want to bring this out to the 1 day, you can see a pretty strong turn to the downside. This is a pretty strong red candle. If you turn on the Heikin Ashi candles, here you have a strong red candle to the downside. You have this red cloud forming soon right here. You also are below the 7 and 25 moving average. And if you pull up the TSI, we bounced off of this green line and started to come back down. So Lucid as well, if you want to put up the actual price action. Lucid at 17.48 would be a good entry for a short position. And it's essentially the same thing with NIO. They're acting the same right now. NIO right now, just to document these three that I'm talking about as far as a short, 19.30 right now. So we're going to watch this. Tesla is acting a little bit different. It's a little bit higher up here, so it could technically bounce up and over. We haven't talked about SPY or anything yet today, but we have been covering it pretty extensively overall. So we are bouncing off of this 100-day moving average, and we're coming back down. We're meeting this line right here, this blue moving average, and we're also meeting the 200-day moving average, and we have the 50 as a support pretty close by. The VRVP is pretty high right here and right here, so this could act as a support and this could act as a resistance, and we could see sideways for a little bit, and that's actually what we've been seeing for the past couple of days. All right, let's see. I think, yeah, we got Apple right here. Now, if you pull up the TSI, we're still on this uptrend, but it's so overbought right now that if you start to see a yellow line form like how you do here, start to see a yellow line form, come back down, you start to see this red cloud form on the TSI, that would be a good entry position, just like how you see with NVIDIA. Okay, so NVIDIA is a little bit ahead of the game as far as what I'm talking about. And if we bring this down, you can see that NVIDIA is already forming this red cloud right here. So NVIDIA on the actual price action, 169.66 would be a good short position. And just keep in mind, have a plan of where you want your stop loss, okay? See where you want your stop loss, whether it's the cloud, a percentage, what have you. You know, have a clear plan. Have a clear plan of what you're doing. But I hope that kind of gives a good insight of what I'm looking at as far as the market. I prefer to go long, but I will go short. It's not against my trading rules necessarily. But have your own trading rules. Have your own style. Figure out what you like. You don't have to necessarily use the indicators I use. But I'm tracking this because this is what I mainly use. And you can use the information that I have and what you see in this content to make your own plan and how they form with your own indicators. Eventually, like I said, I will start talking about other indicators, but this is mainly what I use, so that's what I'm going with on a day-to-day basis. Thank you everyone for watching. If you like this content, please like, subscribe, share, hit the notification button. Really appreciate comments. It helps out the channel, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.